Hello, Lindsay. How are you?
Hello, Michelle. Feeling great today. How are you? How's it going?
Yeah, everything's good over here. Lindsay, do you find it irritating when people brag?
Yeah, for sure. It can be, well, it depends on how it's done, right?
Mhm.
If it's done well, then I may not notice as much that it's a brag, right? I might
Mm,
consider it just, hey, this person is confident. They've done a lot of cool things. And so it's okay. It just really depends on the delivery, Michelle.
right. And also on the person. If it's somebody that you feel is just doing it all the time, then you're
Hmm.
you're just kind of
Hmm.
over it, I think.
Yes.
And that's when you kind of they cross that line from
Yeah.
confident to cocky and yeah.
Ye-
So
Yeah.
but we've
Totally.
talked about bragging a little bit before, and Lindsay, how I would like to be a little bit better about promoting myself, but I feel very
Right.
uncomfortable doing that. But you do need to share your skills, guys.
Yeah.
It's also good to do it in a humorous way. And today you're going to learn ways to talk about bragging and how to say that you're not bragging.
Because, sometimes that's a key piece, right? How to say, "Hey, this is not meant to be a brag." Sometimes that can actually backfire. There's a lot here, Michelle, today. So I hope our listeners are ready to get into some really good tips. I'm sure that we'll pull in culture today as well, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And please, guys, remember if you haven't hit the follow button wherever you're listening to this podcast, be sure to do that. That's where you're going to get bonus episodes. You're going to get all the episodes coming to you. It's going to be easy. You don't have to think about it and go search for us. Hit that button. We're coming to you.
All right, that sounds good. All right, what else, Michelle? There is another episode we wanted to tell you guys about, episode 2194, Play It Cool with these English idioms. So,
Mhm.
I don't remember exactly what that one was about, but I bet it was a good one. So,
It was a good one. Yes.
yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Lindsay, what's the first one?
All right, so you might say, "I don't mean to brag, but I make the best cup of coffee in New York City." Ooh, that's a braggable thing for sure.
Yes. Well, it's funny in New York, you always see different restaurants, best pizza, best bagel in New
Oh,
York, and, it's always funny.
well, it's funny because you don't have to qualify or there's like anyone can say anything about their product, right? It's not,
Yes.
um, yeah, anyone can say they're the best XYZ in X place for sure.
Right.
Yeah, but that would be really common. So I don't mean to brag, but I make the best cup of coffee in New York City. Nice. What
Yes,
else?
yes. The next one, this is fun. It's not to toot my own horn. So,
Hmm.
it's
Yep.
another way to say not to brag or to shout about myself. So you could say not to toot my own horn, but I won first place in my middle school's art show when I was a kid.
Yeah, this expression to toot one's own horn, we do hear that it's kind of a strange expression,
It
but
is.
we do hear it even in professional advice. Like you need to toot your own horn. You need to,
Yeah.
for example, the way this translates into the working world, let's say you won an award in your industry. You need to go on
Mhm.
LinkedIn and do that thing
Toot.
that people do, which is
Toot
I
your own
am
horn.
honored to and maybe we could do an
Oh,
episode on this actually. I see
yeah.
this every day and I struggle with it too. Um,
Yeah.
of writing those posts, but it's good to do for your career. You hear a lot of people
Right.
posting things, and it might start with, "I'm honored to receive this award," or "I'm excited to be collaborating with." There's a lot of ways that we can learn the right language for it, but you do need to get the word out.
Yeah. Yes,
Um,
yes, exactly. I like that expression, to get the word out. That's a good bonus one today. What does that mean?
get the word out to announce things, let people know what's going on, and so there's a time and a place for not bragging, but self-promoting and tooting your
Mhm.
own horn, I think,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Next one is pat oneself on the back. Very common,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm, mhm. So you could say, "I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but I think I did a good job on this report."
Yeah. It's interesting how all of these phrases say, I'm not trying to do X, right?
Right.
But it's really interesting.
It is interesting because that's exactly what you're doing, but it's
Right. Of course.
you're trying to soften it or at least acknowledge how it may sound, and
Yeah.
that awareness without it, just saying, "I make the best cup of coffee in New York City," or "I won first place," or "I did a good job on this report," without that awareness of that it sounds like bragging, it feels
Hmm.
like it feels more intense
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think there's a if it's the right platform for just presenting the facts as facts, it's okay. Like, let's say you're on a panel, and you've been invited to speak on a panel, and it's okay to say, Always English. We do 5 million downloads a
Right.
month. That is not something I would never say. I don't mean to brag, but I would never say that on a stage.
True. That's a very good point, is when you are in that actual professional situation
Yeah.
where you are trying to where you want to show what you've
You,
accomplished, don't
you
use these.
you must present that data to give yourself credibility for what you're going to share, right? So that's another episode for another
Good
day,
point.
right? Probably
Yes.
for our business English podcast, which you
Mhm.
guys should
Yeah.
check that out if you're planning to go to a conference, speak on a stage, or just speak in general. Hit the follow button for business English. But this is more in. I think we should just lay out the context, Michelle,
Yeah.
though, for
Yeah.
these kind of like, who are we talking to when we're saying these things? What kind of context? So we know it's not a conference.
Maybe you're talking to a friend. You're talking
Mhm.
to a friend about your coffee making skills, or you're sharing something
Yeah.
with a friend that you did at work. Maybe you won an award at work, and you say, "No,
Right.
not to toot my own horn, but I just got the Employee of the Month award."
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's a dinner party with your partner and another couple. Um, and if it fits your personality too, there's a
Mhm.
personality aspect. Sometimes people might just be able to to say it and be okay with that. And that
Mhm.
could
Mhm.
actually be okay. It depends on your personality in general outside of the comment too. Right?
Right. So these actually might be best used by someone who's uncomfortable bragging, but
Yeah.
wants to try it out and needs to a little bit, right? So
Right.
it might give you that push, or just feeling, okay, I'm softening my brag a little bit, and so
Right.
it might be
Interesting. Yeah.
best for that kind of a personality.
Yeah, so we're not saying today that if you feel proud and you're excited to talk about your
Right.
accomplishments that you have to put this qualifier before it.
Mhm.
We're saying if you're otherwise not going to say something great about what you've done, and you need a way to kind of inch into it and feel okay about
Mhm.
it, this
Mhm.
might be useful for you today.
Get your feet wet with brag. start
Yeah.
start to get comfortable with it. And the last one we have, well, these are actually two. It's gloat or boast. So
Mhm.
these both
Mhm.
mean brag. So I hate to gloat. Well, gloat is a little bit more in your face than brag, I think. Like, oh, he's gloating. It's like, if I've been watching a lot of basketball games. If a basketball player like makes this huge dunk and then goes around like making all these motions, and that might be more like gloating. It's a
Or
little bit more extreme than boasting. Yeah.
Or in football, it's even worse than basketball. Don't they
Oh
have
yeah.
their like end zone dance where they do
Dancing.
something? It's so ridiculous, I think.
Right. Yes, it is. It is. So you can say, I hate to gloat, but I won. I won.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So for you, Michelle, which one here feels the most natural that you would tend to use?
I think I might like to use not to toot my own horn because it's fun. What
Yeah. Yeah,
about
that is.
you?
Yeah, I don't love the word brag. It feels kind of younger to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So maybe the same one as you, not to toot my own horn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I have people in my life that brag for me and like say,
Yeah.
"Oh, Lindsay did this," and then I kind of go into it and explain a little bit.
Yes.
So it just depends on the context. Who are you around? What do they want to hear from you? There's so much context here that we have to pay attention to. Yeah.
Yeah. Lindsay, I want to hear from you. It doesn't have to be something with work, but what is something you can brag about? Tell us.
Probably the traveling I've done, right? So
Mhm.
I've traveled probably more than your average person. I lived in South America for a year,
Mhm.
lived in Japan for a year and a half, well, studied abroad in Paris, hiked the Camino de Santiago, had a lot of adventures. So adventure is one of my highest values as a person.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think I've lived that to a fair extent. I could do more, but more than the average person. So yeah, I think that's one of the things, and I would rather tell stories than brag, but yeah, I suppose that's braggable. What about you, Michelle?
Well, I'm gonna brag about something less than travel, but something funny. I can brag about my egg making skills. Dan, Dan always says that I make the best eggs, and it has definitely gone to my head, which is a bonus expression when somebody
Hmm.
tells you how good you are at something, and you become
Yeah.
a little bit Oh, you have this feeling of I'm the best.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I do feel that my eggs are significantly better than Dan's.
What is your secret?
Significantly.
Do you whip the eggs? Like, what's the secret? Little
I d
milk in there?
I could do that, but I like to make, like, a good fried egg,
Oh,
and
yes.
and I'm sometimes, he'll make the eggs in the morning because I eat eggs every morning,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes he'll make them, and then, it's just not the
You
same.
j
They're kinda mushy, and then whenever he sees me make my eggs when he's leaving for work, and then he'll say, "Oh, those look so good. Those smell good. They're like from a restaurant." And you know what? They are delicious. So, guys,
Oh,
that
that's good
I
to
hate to
know.
brag, not to toot my own horn, but my eggs are the best.
Good to know. All right. Well, that's great. I wish I could try your eggs, Michelle, and
I know.
leave the
Well, one
recipe.
day, the next time see you in person.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. All right, so
So,
where do we go from here? What do you think?
all right. Well, let's just say, again, these are best for situations where you're being playful and fun.
Mm.
If you are using these for real situations, you it might get irritating. So,
Yeah, for sure. For
uh,
sure. Yeah.
and so should we just do a role play to
Yeah,
end out
let's
the
do it.
episode?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So here we are friends and we're deciding what to make for a party that we're throwing together. All right, here we go. Okay, so what should we make?
Well, not to toot my own horn, but I make amazing chocolate cake. I can do
Hmm.
that.
Oh, awesome. That sounds delicious.
What about you?
Well, I don't mean to brag, but my chips and salsa are to die for.
Oh, sounds great. Oh, my cinnamon rolls are done. Let's try them. Oh, wow. I have to pat myself on the back for this one.
So good. Ooh, cinnamon rolls. Yum. This ties in with, I think we did an episode before about I make a mean X,
Oh,
right?
yes. Good memory.
Hmm.
Yes,
So,
yes.
guys, if you can find that in our back catalog, add that to your listening queue and then combine your skills, right? That would be a great way to do that. I love it. All right. So, what did we do here, Michelle?
Okay, so I said, well, not to toot my own horn, but I make amazing chocolate cake. So again, we're friends. We're having
Hmm.
fun. It's playful. So
Yes.
these are really good for these types of situations.
Exactly. And then I said, "Oh, awesome. That sounds delicious." And then you said, "What about you?" Well, I don't mean to brag, but my chips and salsa are to die for. Nice. Maybe you
Okay.
make chips from scratch, like kale chips or something, right? Put them in the
Mhm.
oven. Yum.
Mhm. Mhm. And to die for, that's a big bonus expression. That's a fun way to say that they're amazing.
Oh, for sure. Yes. A lot of times that expression is used to describe a dessert, right? Something
Mhm.
very scrumptious and very indulgent, like a lava cake or something to die
Yes.
for. The
To
cheesecake here is
die
to
for.
die for.
You
That
have
could
to
be
say it like
another
that. Yeah.
that could be a whole other episode for sure.
Yeah, it could.
Uh, good. Okay, what else?
And then I said I made the cinnamon rolls, and then I tasted them, and I said, "Oh, wow, I have to pat myself on the back for this one." So, basically, it's a little bit different, but it's another way of bragging. I'm saying, "Yeah, I have to pat myself on the back. I did a good job."
Yeah, so clearly, like this role play is showing you it is a little bit fun. It's about more mundane things. I think at the top of the episode, we talked more about, self promotion,
Yeah,
maybe in a different way. And then we kind of
true.
moved it into a lighter piece. But
Right.
I think it's good. I think these phrases do fit more. They feel more comfortable around kind of lighter, more
I
trivial
agree.
things,
I
right?
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. But yeah, these are fun. We didn't use gloat or boast, but we gave you some examples of it earlier. So, guys, use these in your conversations. Have fun with
Yeah.
it. And also, before we head out, we want to remind you, please, if you haven't done so already, please leave us a review.
Yes, leave us a review. Tell us what you think of the show. Every platform has a place for you to
Hmm.
review the show, whether
Yeah,
it's Spotify, Apple. Um, Leave us a review, rate our show, tell us what you think. Ask your question right there in the review, and we will do our best to read your name on the show. You will
yes,
hear your name on the show. Very cool. Michelle, any final takeaway for a listener? It's about connection here, right?
yeah,
It's about
yeah.
connection. Yeah.
It is. It always comes back to connection, right, Lindsay?
Yeah.
So these are good, especially when you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable about bragging. But
Yeah.
don't do it too much, and let us know which expression is your favorite. Try these with friends first, I would say.
Yeah.
Try it with a
Definitely.
friend, maybe something that you know you're good at, or even if you're just playing around, maybe you're gonna play a game with them and you're gonna say, I don't mean to brag, but I am awesome uh at go fish.
Well, I also think it'd be a great opener to invite people over to host a party.
Yeah.
I don't mean to brag, but
Mm.
I make a great margarita. Why don't you come over this weekend and we'll make
Oh,
margaritas together on the porch?
right.
Right. So
Yeah.
this could be not just a statement in itself, it could be an opener to have a party, host a party, get together, right?
Right.
As a
Right.
different
Yeah, I'm
something.
gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe if I want to invite people for brunch and I'm gonna make my delicious eggs.
I mean, I will come over to your house to try those eggs, Michelle. Are you gonna
Yeah.
put that with a Bloody Mary? I will come.
You know what I put on it? I put everything bagel seasoning on them. Do you like everything bagel seasoning?
Interesting. I mean, I don't not like it. I would have to try it.
Oh.
I would have to try it.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, hopefully you can come fly out here and I'll make the eggs. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. This was fun and have a good one.
All right, Michelle, talk soon. Bye.
Bye.